directors just said, this is too much. And so I just get, this is all great. I'm like, that's great. I should consider. And so I don't know how. Yes. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to Unity Center of Des Moines. We are so glad you are here and braved the cold and sat in the circle. If there's anyone sitting in the back row who now might want to reconsider and come in the front row, that is an open invitation. But regardless of where you choose to sit, or maybe you're joining us online, we welcome you just as you are. Is there anyone here for the very first time today? I think I see familiar faces, and we're so glad you're here. Maybe you're joining us online for the first time, and we just want you to know that Unity is a positive spiritual path. We welcome you just as you are and recognize that each person is on their own unique spiritual journey. We'd like to begin with song, and you will notice the lyrics are up on screen. Susan was not able to come today, and I asked Deb if she would let me sing with her because the songs she chose are two of my favorites. So I would love it if you would sing too and follow along. Where it starts with I, then you, then me. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited. There are no chains that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. You are free, you are unlimited. There are no chains that bind you. You are free, you are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now. We are free, we are unlimited. There are no chains that bind us. We are free, we are unlimited. Right now, right now. Isn't that fun? I find myself singing that all day long. And it's just such a good reminder. So, announcements this week. You'll notice in the back there are still some sign-up sheets for some areas that we need some assistance. Specifically, the children's program, which, by the way, there is our first children's program meeting after the service today in the children's area. Laura, Todd, and others from the community here worked together to paint a mural. We have a very generous donor that helped give us finances to help get things going. And just everybody bringing their little bits, their toys and everything. Come downstairs, check it out. We want to hear your voice. I'll say it over and over. If you want it, create it. And that's what's happening. We're building that children's program. And we want everyone's input. Tuesday, per usual, there is the noon midday meditation with Deb Jennings, but that is not all. There is also the cacao ceremony at 4:30, which, yes, Keys Cacao, made by Deb, and her special, whatever she does, as she makes it. You feel the love as you swallow it down, and I highly recommend, if you have not tried it, to consider participating in that. And then at 6:30 p.m. is the new moon gong meditation. So you can do 1 to 3 of those events on Tuesday. There's a full day of sound and love.
Special events are on our website. The calendar is at unitydesmoines.com. There's a 4-picture thing, and there's one that says calendar. You can go through and see what's coming up, and also in our newsletter, which is also on our website, or I can email it to you. If you're not on the email list, there is a sign-up sheet in the back to get on our email list. I'll cover the things that are coming up in like the next week, so you can just kind of check that out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Are there any other announcements that I either forgot or didn't know about? I think that's it. I feel like there's something there, but if it's important, don't come forward. Our regular events, we have somatic yoga with Deja on Mondays. Deb's new meditation on Tuesday. Michael's was here. Where's Michael? He's still out in the hall greeting people. Okay, so he does Tai Chi in the sanctuary on Wednesdays. And then our book club upstairs before the service on Sunday is growing, which is so fun. We're going through the Boundaries book and just each week reading a little bit and then talking about it and learning from each other. Okay, so what's next? Did the announcements? How about our statement of faith? Our next slide. Welcome, make yourself at home. We'll read this all together. There is only one power active in my life and in the universe, the divine source of life and love. And next, the unity affirmation. And as we say this together, if you can really allow yourself to feel the oneness that connects us all. Unity of Des Moines is a radiating center of divine light, mighty to attract its good and to radiate good to others. And with this spirit of oneness, I have a list of people to keep in our prayers this week. And I invite you to uncross your hands and your feet. Really settle into your chair and connect to that part of you that is limitless, that is pure love and light. And to send that out and surround these people with your love. Linda, Angie, Devin, Scott, Jess, Emma, Ashley, Maddie, Michael, Jody, Liz, Sarah and family, Holly, Jeanette Marie, Jess, Paul and Phyllis, Christina, Seal, and people with struggles we know nothing about. So sink into the chair that you are in and let it support you. And bring your awareness to your breath, following it in and out of the body. Breathe in peace, calm, and relaxation. And let go of anything that interferes with your peace, calm, and relaxation. Taking a deep breath in, placing your hand on your heart, and say to yourself, I am love. And then breathe out. We want to lengthen and slow down our breath. And another deep breath in. Say to yourself, I am free. And breathe out. Breathing in. Say to yourself, I am peace. And breathing out. Another deep breath in. I am here.
And breathing out. And let's repeat that. I am here. And breathing out. Being here in the awareness of the present moment. And knowing that in this moment, all is well. You can follow the sound of the chime into the silence. And we will dwell there in the silence for a few moments. And as you gently return from the silence, allow your awareness to expand into a higher consciousness. Feel the connection with source energy and all that is. Knowing we are all connected with each other and with everything around us. As you fully come back to the awareness of this present moment, allow the smile in your heart to find you, and allow yourself to feel gratitude for all that is.
Speaking of gratitude, our reading for today is taken from 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6, which says, "The point is this, the one who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and the one who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully." Keeping my heart open elevates my experience of generosity. If I give begrudgingly, fearful of not having enough for myself, I am not being truly generous. There is joy and trust in being generous. There is joy knowing there is no lack at the level of spirit. And my generous impulses are my way of demonstrating my faith in this truth. I place my trust in the spiritual truth that as I give, I also receive. Generosity is a spiritual practice, a commitment to fully participating in the flow of life. As I give generously, I receive the richness of grace, love, and peace. I relax into the flow of synchronicity and receive unexpected blessings. Generosity is the gift I give myself. The affirmation that goes along with this, I'll say it once and then if we can all say it together, is this. I give with an open heart. I am generous.
I give with an open heart. I am generous.
And with that, I remember the thing that I was going to announce before. And that is that dear Lenore has blessed the area with additional crystals. Came in, so you might see there's rose quartz and there's other kinds of quartz and probably things I don't know what they are. But she brought those things in to help raise the energy of the space. And if you have things like that you would like to participate or contribute to the space here, please do so. I have some that I'm going to be burning and just want to offer, again, the reminder that we are co-creating this experience and I am so grateful. So thank you. How about another song? And this one is I Feel the Spirit. And you'll see that, you'll figure it out. Please sing along. Smart people. If you want to dance or swing, get up and move. Feel free to
moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the love 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 moving in me. I feel the peace 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 moving in me. I feel the Spirit 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 moving in me.
Thank you. Also generosity. Could we please thank Deb Jennings with a round of applause? And Daniel up in the sound booth, who did not have the easiest job up there trying to figure out what's going on. Thank you for his contribution there. And thank you to our speaker today, our very own Wayne Jones, who is a master storyteller, and you can read more about him in the newsletter, is going to talk about consciousness. And P.S., he brought some handouts on the back table. So if you did not see those, just know that they're there, and he's going to talk more about it. Please welcome Wayne Jones.
Good morning, y'all. I just gotta get my notes out here and see where we're gonna go. So, this is an interesting topic. There's a lot of conversation about consciousness and consciousness levels, stuff like that. And I'm gonna start in with a story. It goes clear back in my electrical career. And it's a crazy story. I worked for a company that done power plants and substation work. And I was in charge of installing 4 generators in a Riverside Power Station on the Mississippi River. And I went over there in the 1st of January in 1968, and it was about 10 weeks to put 4 generators together. When we got them all put together, then it's time for the GE technicians to start these machines up. So they started them up, and there was one machine that would start up, and it would run for about 5 minutes, and it would start to vibrate. And the vibration monitors would shut it down. So they started it up again, and it had done the same thing. And they kept doing that until they finally decided that they didn't have the fix for it. And I was finished with the job, so I left. But I always wondered about that, because I'd worked on several of these same identical units prior to that. And this was the only one that I would say misbehaved. So about a month later, I happened to run into the GE engineer that was in charge of that project. And I think his name was Bob App Jones. And I said, what was wrong with the generator over there at Riverside? He says, well, we couldn't figure it out, so we had to get the technicians from Schenectady with all their instrumentation to determine what was wrong with the machine. And he says, we found out that that machine had sympathetic complementary harmonic vibrations. So, what's that? I'm not a musician, I'm not all into all that stuff and everything. So I says, would you please explain that to me? He says, well, that machine would start up, and he says it would start to vibrate on this first octave. And then it would build an amplitude, and it would jump up to the second octave, and the second octave would come back and reinforce the first octave, and the first octave would come back, jump up and start the third octave, and it would come back and reinforce until the vibration monitors track the machine. And so, being curious and everything, I just says, all right, how did you fix it? Oh, we just simply welded some junk on the frame so it wouldn't vibrate at that speed. Because generators only run one speed. They have to just run one speed because they're tied into the grid. And when you're tied into the grid, you're either putting power into the grid or you're taking power from it. So I pondered that for a long, long time, and didn't make any sense of it. So here a few years ago, I get into metaphysical stuff. And so it's all about what? Vibration and frequency, right? So I got to pondering this thing, and I happen to remember this generator. And so we talk about our source, God, all that, one creator of all. And that creator operates at infinity. That's a very high frequency. And so here we are, spiritual beings in a physical body, sitting here today. So when we're born, we pretty much are connected up with the one that created us. And we can go back, I can go back into some Genesis stuff. I think Joy touched on the Genesis thing last week. Tried to figure out. I knew she talked about it, but I couldn't figure out what. That's what it was. So anyway, as a baby, you're pretty much happy, Even if you have a little problem in the diaper thing, you're still happy, Ha ha ha! I pooped my pants and you don't know it. And then as you get older, and what do they call that? The terrible twos?
Yeah.
Well, what happens in the terrible twos? You can't do this, you can't do that. On and on and on. And then as you get older, why people say, well, you're too short and you're too fat and you're the wrong color and this and that and everything. Everything what they're doing is welding junk on your frame so you can't vibrate with the creator. Right? Isn't that what happens to us?
Yeah.
And I heard your story, something about a rain barrel or something once upon a time. You got shelled out for that, right? So that's, those things all happen to us. And my sisters, Stevie and I kind of got a connection because we're both second first child. My youngest sister's 10 years older than me. My brother is 13 years. My oldest sister's 15 years. So when I was going to kindergarten, they were graduating from high school. And then I can remember my youngest sister, her thing was she had boyfriends come over and what'd she say? Oh, Weenie, you get out of here. You don't know nothing.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's the information I got. I don't know nothing. Actually, we're all born geniuses. And David R. Hawkins in his books says we're all born geniuses. So I believe that. And then when I was about 12, I got transplanted from living in the city to moving down to a farm. And there's a city kid in a farm community, and the city kids always make fun of the farmers, you dumb farmers, you don't know nothing, shoveling crap and all that stuff. But actually, they were feeding us.
Yeah, exactly.
So then here's a city kid in the farm community. Well, I got on a school bus first day. So some kid said, "What's your name?" And I didn't want to tell him. And there was a girl in the back of the bus that says his last name is Jones. And there's another kid, there was a comic strip that's called Jughead Jones. So it says, "Oh, Jughead Jones." So that's what I got named all through high school, teachers and all. That's what I was told, Jughead Jones. And it's actually more applicable to me now because I have a business where I market water ionizers, and I have given away many gallons of water to whoever. And so it's more, that's actually more fitting today than it was then. But went through all of high school with that, and so I had all that. The thing is my high school buddy talked me into joining the Naval Reserve when we were seniors. I stayed in and he got out. I stayed in for 32 years.
Wow.
Thank you.
And then the electrical thing, I started playing with cords and plugs when I was 5 years old. And so this electrical mechanical thing is kind of my gift. I've been gifted with that. And so working on these generators, that and stuff like that, I had kind of a natural thing. And so I just started and tried to figure out all this your spiritual stuff, especially in the last probably 5 years, 6. It's been very intense. And I've been involved in a lot of churches, and some of them went along well, and some I should have left and went out the side door and not said anything. That did better for everybody, myself included, and it didn't gain anything. So this thing about how did I get into the consciousness stuff today? I had a counselor, and she suggested that I check in with a lady up in Ames that could read Akashic Records. So I thought, well, I'll do that. And it was kind of frightening to go and have the Akashic Records opened up. You're thinking, oh, they're going to know everything. Actually, they do. But the thing was on the way up there, I was wondering, Wayne, do you want to get healed, or do you want to keep treating symptoms?
Yeah.
And when you get into the medical field, you're going to find out that it's more profitable for the doctor to keep treating symptoms than it is to heal you. Actual fact. So I went up and done that, and then during that reading, I kind of finished up. This lady says, well, Wayne Dyer and Dr. Emoto and Joel Osteen would like to work with you. So right quick, I knew that Wayne Dyer was dead. I knew that Dr. Emoto was dead. Yeah, I don't know about Joel Osteen. So, I just don't follow him. I've read some of his books, but I just didn't. So I thought, okay, Wayne Dyer, I watched some of his videos. So I bought his book on intention. And in his book on intention, he said that he'd studied A Course in Miracles for a year.
Yeah.
So Wayne thinks, well, okay, if I'm going to work with this guy, I should kind of know what, if he's reading The Course in Miracles, I'll just get that book and I'll start reading it, and then we'll be, kind of on the same page. And not so. I got this book, Course in Miracles. I can make sense of it. And you tell me somebody in here that just picked up the Course in Miracles and just read it from cover to cover and had it all figured out. Ain't gonna happen. So the gal that I was counseling with kind of at that time, she says, Unity has a study group. So that's how I got here. I checked in with Kathy Simpson 6 years ago, 5 years and 30 weeks or something like that. So I got into the Course in Miracles that way, and I just would highly recommend that you do that. And yeah, it's good to be with group. There's a Zoom meeting you can attend, you can get involved with that. Then I was inspired to go back and read the book of Wayne Dyer's On Intention again. And lo and behold, he said something about he read this book, Power versus Force. Guess what? I got that book and read it. And that started making a lot of sense to me of how things, how we could measure where we were at on getting rid of the junk off of our frame. So I read that book, and that changed a lot of stuff. And the thing about Power versus Force, I'd like to read, I think I'll just read this little blurb that I printed off. It's kind of in between. It just happens to be, I don't even have it up here with me. Well, anyway, what he's saying, unless you change, your consciousness level, little of anything is going to change. And so in his book, Power versus Force, there is a, perhaps I do have that, there is a map of consciousness in his book. And in between, I think it's about page 90, so it's pretty much in the first part of the book. Here's what he says. We may observe how throughout history, society has tried to treat social problems by legislative action, warfare, market manipulation, laws, and prohibitions, all manifestations of force, only to see these problems persist or recur despite the treatment. Although governments or individuals proceeding from positions of force are myopic to the sensitive observer, it eventually becomes obvious that conditions of social conflict won't disappear until the underlying origins have been exposed and healed. Won't change. The difference between treating and healing is that in the former, the context remains the same, whereas in the latter, the clinical response is elicited by the change of context so as to bring about an absolute removal of the cause of the condition rather than mere recovery from its symptoms. It's one thing to prescribe an antihypertensive medication for high blood pressure. That's quite another to expand the patient's context of life so that he stops being angry and repressive.
Yeah.
Can we get an amen on that?
Yeah.
The empathy derived from contemplating this map of consciousness will hopefully make a path of joy a shorter one. The key to joy is unconditional kindness to all of life, including one's own, which we refer to as compassion. Without compassion, little of any significance is ever accomplished in human endeavors. We may generalize to the greater social context from individual therapies, wherein the patient can't be truly cured or fundamentally healed until he invokes the power of compassion, both for himself and others. At that point, the healed may become the healer. And in the book of Lynn McTaggart on the intention experiment, she gathered up 14,000 people on an internet connection to reduce the violence in Sri Lanka for a 10-minute time period. And when come the day they done this experiment for 10 minutes, not only did it reduce the violence in Sri Lanka, it actually ended a civil war they'd had going on for 27 years. And then the other unexpected thing for Lynn McTaggart was that she found the people that were doing the intending also got healed. And I could tie in another one of my little sayings on that. It's kind of a mystery to her because she was not expecting that. But actually, whenever you allow the Spirit to work through you to someone else, it's like if you pour yourself a glass of milk and you drink that, some of it sticks to the side of the glass. So when you do this intending to heal somebody else, you're also going to get healed. How about that one?
That's great.
So that's just some of the stuff. And then I printed out, it's on the back table, just to kind of give you some idea of why we need some kind of, I think what Hawkins has done is he's put this down into the various things and what consciousness level that is, and then you can understand where you're at, and then you can work towards, you can choose your own path to work towards how you're going to elevate your level of consciousness. And you get down into, and this printing is really bad, but it starts in, it's a God view, a life view, the level, scale, emotion, and process. And Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and those avatars, they all can get up to the level of 1,000 on the consciousness scale. And then when you start in with, and then Hawkins is also saying you have to be up to the level of 200 on the consciousness scale to even understand the difference between truth and falsehood. And that has not occurred. It did not occur until 1985. So we've been through several lifetimes, and so it's taken a few eons to get where we're at.
Wow.
And I just, kind of my notion is maybe that could be accelerated.
I agree. I agree.
Jump the cables.
Well, we've all had this thing, it's called shame, guilt, all that. Various religious entities have promoted that to keep control of you. And let's see if I can read that. Okay, blame, that ranks in there at about 30 on the consciousness scale. Humiliation is 20. Grief is 75. Anxiety is 100. And I'll just got back, it's a page like that, it's on the back table there. If you want to grab one, you can. That's, I just thought I'd bring along as information to, so you can kind of have some idea. But for me, as I read through some of Hawkins' books, again, what I come to find out is that A Course in Miracles is ranked at 700 on the consciousness level. So that's up there quite a ways. I'll just mention this about the consciousness level. It is logarithmic, so whenever you go up 1 point, it's times 10. So it's making a huge difference. So here I've been into this Course in Miracles here, Unity, probably 3 years, on a Zoom meeting. One evening, logged on to it. And I think it's always weird to log on to a Zoom meeting and see yourself. Yeah, what do you? I don't know, I just do. But the thing is, when I logged on to that, I could see that all of us had grown. So what if it is maybe one point on the consciousness scale, and you have 10 people that have grown just grown 1 point in time. I don't know what, you know. We're not going to be just level, you know. It's not like water. It seeks its own level. But we'd all grown. And so I mentioned it to the group because I could see that in myself, and I could see it in the others. So the thing you read up here, unity is a radiating, what you call it? Whatever. That's what I spoke about when I first spoke here. It's, and I kind of felt like I should come back and say that because I remember a story about Jesus. He healed 10 lepers, and there's only one come back and said thanks. And I'm just here saying thanks.
Ungrateful lepers, man.
It makes a difference. And not only does it make a difference in the person, it makes a difference in the universe.
Yes.
It's a big deal.
Yep.
Huge. And I just that's kind of pretty much my message. I got a whole bunch of other stories. John knows a lot of them. We've sat and shared those things. So that's just kind of pretty much the heart of what I wanted to say today. And any of you want to talk about that? And then, lo and behold, I have, just every, you get started with this stuff, and then there's people that come along. I've got a book here. I'm going to show you. Okay. So then after I go back and reread Power versus Force the second time, and it says, Course in Miracles is ranked at 700 on the consonant scale. That's up quite a ways. And so Hawkins is saying that his books, they're calibrated. Every paragraph in his books is calibrated on a consonance level, and they rank up there around 980. So simply by reading his books will raise your consciousness level, whether you do what's in the book or not. How about that?
Yeah.
So, maybe somebody will click them, just kind of like the generator thing from 68 to about 5 or 6 years ago. That's quite a bit of time. But those are things that will come back to you. Spirit talks to you, and people say, are you clairvoyant? No. Do you talk to yourself? Yeah. Kind of the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's the Spirit has spoken to you probably many times, and sometimes those things keep recurring. And where does that keep coming from? Well, then when you get into raising your consciousness level, it becomes self-evident. It's another, it's a big deal. And I just, then you start getting more connected back to the one that created you. Back in Genesis 1:26 and 27. And last week, Joy mentioned Genesis 2:7. And in 1:26 and 27, God says, let us create man in their image, therefore I created man in their image. That's what I believe is our spiritual beginning for all of us. And if you don't think that we're all connected, I'll ask you another silly question. Where was you at when your heart beat the first time? Pretty much the same for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So we all have a connection here. I'm just sharing some of the stuff that's happened to me. I've had many experiences. I just want to kind of focus on this consciousness thing. And there is a way for you to kind of see where you're at. You can look at yourself and see that. And then I'm a fan of Hawkins. And apparently, of course, in Miracles and Alcoholics Anonymous was a fan of his too, because when he wrote, of course, Power versus Force, they asked him to write a series of books, which he did over a period of 29 years. And all of those are calibrated on a consciousness level. And so that's just some of the background stuff. There are other books, I've read many. And then my friends from for a Christmas present, they give me a book of Hawkins, The Highest Level of Enlightenment, Transcend the Levels of Consciousness for Total Self-Realization. And that's a book, and it took me less than a week to read that. Maybe because I had some pretty serious interest in those kind of things. So that's just kind of what I'm just encouraging. Whatever you can do to get more junk off the frame faster.
Yeah.
I just believe that can happen. And then another crazy thing is, I don't know, have you got any people in here that are really good at this program called Excel?
Yeah.
There's people in there, well, from what I understand about Excel, there's a program in there called Pivot Table. And you can take that pivot table and put the numbers on it and kind of keep churning it and looking at it to see how you can make it work better, faster. And my daughter is a queen of the pivot tables, and she worked on Praxair and placing stuff in warehouses. And what they did was, what she used it for was, in the warehouse, stuff that went out the door faster, they put it closer to the door.
Right.
And then the stuff that didn't work as good, they put it further back in the warehouse. So we can do, my idea is, we could take somebody that knows about pivot tables and start putting some of these things together that will accelerate our enlightenment. Enough said for today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elena. We love you, we appreciate you, and keep telling your stories, and encouraging all of us to help raise the consciousness of the whole planet and the universe, because we can do that. The universe is within us, right? Vivian and I talk about this all the time. So, speaking of resources, if you would like to share your resources with Unity Center of Des Moines, now is your opportunity to do so. We'll have Zeke pass around a little basket, but if you maybe don't have cash, or maybe you'd like to set up a recurring contribution, maybe you're joining us online, we now, in addition to Venmo at Unity-Des Moines, we also accept Zelle. So like I have US Bank, there's some other banks that support Zelle. If you have Zelle, there's a little QR code in the back, and it will connect it up so that you can donate, and you can even set up recurring donations if that's something that works for you. But whether your contributions are of a financial, physical, energetic, or spiritual level, we want to offer this affirmation together. I am infinitely abundant. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I thankfully acknowledge the divine source.
So in Wayne's lesson this morning, he talked about compassion and intention. And when I choose music for the service, I usually meditate and try to get some guidance on that. And I was guided to offer channeled flute music with the intention of increasing our compassion. So as you listen to this, if you would join me in that intention, because he talked about the power of us joining together. So increasing compassion, first of all, for yourselves, then for each other, and then for all beings everywhere.
sharing. I'd like to dedicate this offering to do the work of spirit and truth for the people of Unity Center of Des Moines, and we are
Grateful.
Thank you, everyone. We'll be wrapping up now. I'd like to invite everyone to stand up and join Deb, follow along with our handbook as she does the universal greeting of peace from the Gandhi Foundation.
I offer you peace.
I offer you peace.
I offer you love.
I offer you love.
I offer you friendship.
I offer you friendship.
I see your beauty.
I see your beauty.
I hear your needs.
I hear your needs.
I feel your feelings.
I feel your feelings.
My wisdom flows from the higher source.
My wisdom flows from the higher source,
And I salute that source in you.
and I salute that source in you.
Let us work together for unity and love.
Let us work together for unity and love.
And love.
Thank you, Deb. And I just got inspired doing this with Wayne. Next week, I'm gonna invite everybody to make eye contact with someone else in the circle when we do that. But that's next week. For this week, if I could get everyone to make a great big circle around the room, the inner people join the outer circle. Usually hold hands. If you don't wanna hold hands, just put your hands over your heart and signify that you just wanna energetically combine. We'll sing the closing song, and then I could use help with chairs in here, but I'll tell you more about that.
The love of the divine enfolds us. The power of the divine protects us. The presence of the divine watches over us. Wherever we are, the divine is, and all is well.
Everyone, yay! So, as a reminder, at noon, the children's group meeting is downstairs. There should be snacks and refreshments in the community room. And what I need with the chairs is 4 rows, so 2 rows on each side with an aisle between, 6 chairs in each row. And then the rest of the chairs up against the wall. Okay.